Welcome to Beyond Film School, where I teach you all about the film industry. I'm Amber. In this video, we are talking to Sarah Himes. I got to interview her about the assistant production coordinator. First of all, I just want to thank you for watching this video. We are continuing the series about the production office. And just a quick review of the production office and what they do. They are the control tower of information. They are the nucleus of any production. Everything in the physical production phase starts and stops with the production office. And the production office also facilitates all the needs of all the departments. That office team is comprised of office PAs, production secretaries, assistant production coordinators, and the production coordinator. I had the chance to interview Sarah Himes. Talking to her was amazing, and she is from Atlanta. I had the pleasure of working with her before. We worked together on a movie from Paramount Plus called Jerry and Marge Go Large. It was great working with her, and I'm so glad I got to tap into her knowledge about being an assistant production coordinator. And to give you a reminder about the production coordinator position, here is Jennifer and Galana, the authors of Keys to the Production Office.
The production manager oversees the production, then the production coordinator facilitates that. So they're the ones that help implement at the direction of the production manager.
The production coordinator is the person who's wrangling all of the needs of the production office, but also supporting all of the other production departments. The coordinator will work with the production manager to fulfill the needs of every department. And they'll use their staff, the assistant production coordinator, the production secretary, and the office PAs to, like Jen said, implement all of those needs.
The production coordinator has a lot of responsibilities running the production office. And in short, the assistant production coordinator helps the production coordinator run the office smoothly and ultimately making sure that production runs smoothly as a whole. Now, we are going to try to cover the responsibilities of an assistant production coordinator as much as we can, but your responsibilities could vary from show to show, from project to project, depending on what you're doing and what budget it is. We try to cover all those, but they can vary depending on who hires you and what show you work on.
You're kind of the best boy of the office. It depends on how your coordinator wants things to function. I think that the APOC and the coordinator are really in lockstep. But I think when you first start and you meet your coordinator, you kind of establish how you want to break up your responsibilities. So I would say that probably the two biggest things that you deal with, the coordinator and the assistant coordinator, is number one, dealing with rentals and vendors. Mm-hmm. So this is things like the grip vendors, the electric vendors, makeup vendors, hair vendors, making sure that the camera package is ready to go. And what goes along with this is expendables as well. With those, what you're really doing is making sure that your vendor accounts are set up and making sure that with your best boys that you communicate closely with them about if they have specific equipment that's needed for a short-term rental, that's being facilitated, that you have the account open with the vendor, that the POs are being processed correctly to accounting so that the electric team or the grip team is able to go get their equipment in a timely fashion and make sure that it's ready on set. It's kind of stressful because especially when you work in TV, it can be very fast paced and you're always having to do different rental agreements and it goes so long. So yeah. It's like we might be returning something and then renting it a week later. So it's a lot of back and forth and you get to know your vendors really well, which is exciting. And then at the beginning of the show, when you're doing expendables, you're reaching out to all these different departments and you're making sure that they get you their expendable list. And then once you get that list, you jump on it. You're getting competitive bids from different vendors. I might put my PA on being like, these are all office supplies. So can you figure out where to get these from? And then I'll be emailing Panavision being like, can you get me a quote for this? That's a huge part of it. So dealing with equipment and vendors is a big chunk of responsibility that either the coordinator or the assistant coordinator will kind of tackle. And then I think that the other huge responsibility that either the coordinator and the APC share is dealing with SAG. Your network or your studio will handle a lot of the big name contracts. So if you have a top 5 actors that have a studio deal, the studio will handle their deals and making sure that those are signed. But everybody else that comes through, that's considered a day player, their stuff is going to be handled by the office. Once it's signed by the producer and so it's locked in, the first thing that I'm doing is I'm emailing a start work packet to that actor so that we have their start work and I'm getting their I-9 and then I send all of that over to payroll. So I'm facilitating making sure that they're set up with our payroll team with their start work to make sure that that's good to go. And then when they're about to work, I'm also facilitating the contract for them, making sure that that's filled out and that it's correct, and making sure that it's given to the ADs so that the morning that the actor works, the actor can sign it, because an actor is not, I'm sure as you know, an actor is not allowed to go on camera but without a signed contract on file. So that's a big responsibility. You're always keeping eye on when different people are starting and making sure that you have the correct points. Dealing with SAG can be kind of tricky because you're also communicating with the agents, communicating with the ADs. You never want to make the actors upset or make their agents upset, as you know. So that can be kind of tricky, and you kind of always have to be on your game with that one. And I think when you're dealing, like I did SAG, I did all of this SAG stuff on my last show, and you're really communicating a lot with your base camp PA, making sure that they have what they need. You know, it's always going to happen where maybe there's a day that something didn't go right with the contracts and I have to send it to them really quickly and be like, please print this out at base and make sure it gets signed. So I think having a great relationship with your second AD and your base camp PA is really important in those situations. And also when you have new SAG people that come in, you have to do what's called a Station 12 and a Taft-Hartley. A Station 12 is you just run, you know, the actors through SAG. And if anybody is not registered with SAG, you have to fill out a Taft-Hartley and get that signed by your producer. Taft-Hartley is just a short page that says, you know, we recognize that this person's not in SAG and we're sending you their information. And this is why we picked them to work over a SAG member, basically. So dealing with SAG can be kind of a lot and it can be kind of confusing, but once you get in the swing of it, it's really easy. And then kind of also dealing with SAG is you might be dealing with the Exhibit Gs that come back from set. So at the end of every filming day, you know, we get sent back the Exhibit Gs and the football. An Exhibit G is essentially just a time card for the cast members that the ADs on set will facilitate filling out. And you get it back, you just check over it and you make sure that everything looks okay, that it's an AM or not a PM or however it's supposed to be. If they miss any meal penalties, you make sure that those are notated because this is how payroll will pay the actors. So it's important that it's a correct document. Another responsibility that the APC will do a lot is the production report. So this is another document that, you know, comes from the ADs. This is just a document that has every piece of information about what happened that day, you know, what scenes were shot, what camera rolls were used, where we are in the script, the actors' times, the background, and then all the crew times are always on the back. So going through that every single day and making sure that it's correct, taking notes from your UPM, you know, confirming things with the AD team, confirming things with payroll. You know, you might have to reach out to departments and check on things just depending on what's happening. That's a daily job that you have to do every single day when filming's happening. It can be super demanding when you're doing it on a TV show and it goes on for a really long time. You're dealing with a lot of different episodes, potentially. A huge job of the APC a lot of the time is managing the PAs and the secretary. I think that the APC, like you said, a lot of times people will approach the APC first before they approach the coordinator with maybe a request or something they need. And you as the APC can kind of delegate those tasks to your PAs. You also want to make sure that the office is running appropriately. Like, does the kitchen look clean? Is it fully stocked? Are offices being cleaned out as people aren't using them? Like, is the copy room functional? Are supplies well? Like, you're managing these things and making sure that the PAs and the secretary are kind of doing their job. You never want to have somebody come up to you and be like, your producer come up to you and be like, there's no, you know, LaCroix in the fridge, or there's no paper in the copier. Like, that's like, oh God, what a headache. You're always anticipating things like tech scouts, production meetings. I feel like a huge job you deal with in the office is dealing with food. People don't always think about that, but when you have, you know, a scout, or, you know, you might have an in-person meeting, they might want food. So you're making sure that there's, you know, bagels or coffee or sandwiches or something that people can eat. If there's a food truck on set, 9 times out of 10, it's either from the production office. It might be from, you know, an assistant, like a producer's assistant or a director's assistant, but a lot of the times the office facilitates making sure that those are there. Loss and damage. When you have L&D on set, you know, like let's say a computer monitor got damaged that was part of playback's kit. Playback might send you a link to what they want, but you're the one that's facilitating getting the new one in, ordering it, and then making sure that it gets back to them. Or walkies is a huge loss and damage thing. So you're always communicating with your walkie vendor about getting swaps or replacements done for that. So just making sure that the best boys or whoever's managing it is filling out the reports, and you also keep a log of it so that at the end of the show you have kind of a running list of everything. And if everything was resolved, that's what you do a lot during wrap, is making sure that your walkie or that your L&D as a whole is all handled and there's no outstanding, debts or anything that's just been left damaged and not managed. Also, workers' compensation is a huge thing that we deal with in the office. So this is anybody that's hurt on set, doing their job. If you work on a union show that's like funded through a studio, they'll have a workers' compensation provider. And so if someone is hurt, your medic will have paperwork that we've provided them that gives the hurt person information on basically like insurance information, so that when they're taken to the urgent care or the medical provider, that the cost of their treatment is covered by our policy. And so it's not a whole ton that you have to do, but you just have to keep a log and keep tabs on, who's been hurt and where we're at in their situation. Like, has it been resolved or is it outstanding? Because that's something that we have another log for that, and we communicate that during wrap, so that if there is like an outstanding case, that the studio knows about it and that your studio rep is aware of it, because they're kind of the ones that are going to take it over if there's any like other questions that come up from the provider.
I think it takes a special type of person to excel in this role. It is not easy to be an assistant production coordinator. So we're going to jump into the characteristics and skills that it'll take to succeed in this position.
I think when you become an APC, especially what I've learned is a lot of leadership. Managing the PAs and being a good manager is way harder than I think people think. Making sure that, the PAs feel like they're doing an equal amount of work, making sure that everyone's feeling valued, that, like if people want to take days off or they need to leave early, that you're kind of, you want to like give people what you want, but you have to also evaluate the reality of what's happening in the office and make sure that you're covered. And then I think another big thing about being an APC, and especially a coordinator, is like assertiveness. I don't know, like it's not a glamorous way to describe it, but being demanding. And because working in film, things are fast paced.
Right.
This is not like a you get back to me in 3 days situation. I need an answer now. So I have to call vendors sometimes and be like, what's going on with this? I need an answer. Like, I need to know the status. Being able to push in a way that's not rude, but gets you what you want. That's a really big skill. And it's kind of hard to master, but I think if you can do that, it really is helpful. And I think too that sometimes if you're too nice, people like crew members or even like vendors will try to like, slip things past you, and you have to be like, whoa. Yeah. I'm being nice, but I'm not that nice. Like, and just
I'm not stupid.
I know I'm not dumb, but so, being able to like suss those things out and, hold your ground when you need to. And I think is hugely important. And that's just a general life skill. And I think that learning that through work has been huge help for helping me even in my personal life. An assistant coordinator is a union position. In Georgia, we're under 161. Mm-hmm. And so it's accountants, production coordinators, assistant coordinators, and script supervisors who are all in that union.
Production coordinators do have a union. You have the IATSE Local 161 covering the East Coast and Local 871 covering the West Coast of the US. You should definitely check them out on Instagram. They both have accounts on Instagram. They have a ton of information there, and I will leave the link below to their websites if you're interested in trying to join their union if you are going to be a production coordinator in the future.
An assistant coordinator, kind of the starting rate, I would say, is around $1,700. But I do think that that's really low for the amount of like work that you do.
Most definitely.
So,
yeah.
So I personally push for a lot more than that. And I think that if you come with a lot more experience, I think you could get more into the 2,000 range or more. So it just depends kind of on, like I said, budget, if it's a TV or if it's a movie, like who the network is, all those things kind of play a factor, and your experience.
If you want to see the full entire interview with me talking to Sarah, she talks about how she got started, the benefits of working in the production office. She goes into the production secretary position, as well as the assistant production coordinator. There's so much there. That video will be available to channel members. And if you want to be a channel member, you can hit that join button. The assistant production coordinator is doing a lot. There are a ton of responsibilities. And if you are interested in being in that position one day, you are going to be starting out as an office PA. And if you want to start as an office PA, definitely get the book Keys to the Production Office by Jennifer and Galana. This book is amazing. It gives you every detail, and it will help you succeed a little bit quicker than you would on your own. That link will be below for you. It is an Amazon affiliate link at no extra cost to you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if it has given you any type of value, please make sure to like, subscribe, or share this video.